We're going to go into the top 5 reasons to move to Wicker Park. And we'll start with number 5 and we'll work our way up to number 1. So what do you think is the 5th best reason to move to Wicker Park?
I think highway access. You are perfectly located where you can get to anywhere within 15 to 20 minutes.
Fantastic. Yeah, highway access in Wicker Park is phenomenal. I mean, exactly like you said. You can get almost anywhere in 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and hit up the 4th best reason. What is the 4th best reason to move to Wicker Park?
I'm going to say location, 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 which we all know is absolutely important, right? So you can get from Wicker Park, because of everything that you have, you can go to grab drinks with your friend. You can go to a show. Then you can go bar hopping up and down Milwaukee on these like cute little bars. You can spend your entire day here and never leave. And that's kind of amazing because you're constantly finding something new in your neighborhood.
That's the best part about Chicago, I think. The cities within the city, I mean, everyone has their own unique charm, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to do this, because I could learn way more about Chicago too. So, I mean, it's brilliant. I love that. Location, location, location. Wicker Park has it, 100%. Let's go ahead and hit up the 3rd best reason. What do you think is the 3rd best reason to move to Wicker Park?
Neighborhood feel. Since I've moved here, I've had one neighbor shovel my snow for me because he saw me struggling. I had one neighbor make consistent deliveries during COVID of vegetables from his garden. He would just fling it over our fence.
Just vegetable bombs coming over. It's like, I got some potatoes for you. That's awesome.
He'd be like, incoming tomatoes. He's like, do you need more cucumbers?
That's hilarious.
I love it.
But you know, not every part of the city has that neighborly feel to it. So that's awesome that you have that there. Vegetable chucking neighbors, that's awesome. I love that. I love it so much. Let's go ahead and move on to what is the number 2 best reason to move to Wicker Park?
Oh, I am going to say, the space of the properties here are definitely unique because you've got such a mix between the new buildings that are going up, and they're still relatively small in comparison to what you get in River North, Streeterville, Gold Coast going up, that give it a very intimate feel, and it's just character. I love looking at the beams. When you move into a place in Wicker Park, it doesn't feel cookie cutter. It feels like home that nobody else has in character. So I think if you're looking for something unique, Wicker Park's got it.
100% agreed. Fantastic answer. Let's go ahead. Let's just jump right into it. What is the absolute best reason to move to Wicker Park?
Food. Food. Yeah. The food. If you didn't catch it, the food.
All right. Yeah, obviously, we kind of went into that already. The food is fantastic out there. Let's go ahead and move right into the cons. For people that are looking to move in the area, what do you think would be con number 5? One reason they wouldn't want to live there.
Construction. I think construction right now, with everything the city's updating our sewer system, I believe ComEd is updating as their system as well, and People's Gas is doing a lot of work. So there's a lot of congestion, a lot of construction, but this is also good news because that means after you buy your place and you move here, everything's done. Everything's new, everything's working. So con, pro, kind of both.
It's a con currently, but it'll be a pro when they're done. That makes sense. Let's move on to con number 4. What do you think is the 4th reason people might not consider moving to Wicker Park?
So Wicker Park is really interesting because you've got North Avenue, Milwaukee, Damon, and it gets a little chaotic, especially on Milwaukee at nights, because we've got all of those bars, restaurants, theaters. So that could be a lot for some people.
That makes sense. It's a lively area, so if they're not looking for a lively atmosphere, it's probably not for them.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Con number 3, let's jump right into it. I'm going too high up.
Parking. If you're trying to do street parking on the weekend, get yourself a garage spot because you will be driving around between the hour until 5 p.m. when it becomes permit only. But the good news also is there's a lot of petitions going around where they're trying to convert at least one side of the street to 24/7 parking. So currently chaos, Uber or Lyft or anything to get here, but potentially better.
All right. What is con number 2?
Grocery stores. So there is a Jewel Osco on Milwaukee. Other than that, you're going to have to go into the Ukraine Village for Mariano's or a little bit north onto Elston and North Avenue for another Mariano's. But we all have delivery services. And in all honesty, between the farmer's market and the restaurants, I've managed to stay alive and pretty chubby, so just saying.
Yes, you might have to travel a little bit to get to the grocery store, but there's plenty of good restaurants there already anyway, so it's actually a good excuse to eat better. Con number 1, what is the worst part about Wicker Park in your thoughts?
Trying to find a property. In all honesty, I know there's tons of people that want to move here, and by the time anything hits the market, it's pretty much gone. So if you're trying to move to Wicker Park or trying to be here, I'm so sorry. I apologize. It's a little hard.
Yep. Unfortunately, that inventory is historically low. In an area as rockin' as Wicker Park, that makes it even more difficult because it's hard to find a house anywhere. When you're in a really highly desired area like that one, yeah, absolutely. That'll be a challenge.
Agreed. I mean, it's not much of a con, but I personally think it's a con because it took me forever to buy a place here, and I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah, it's a con, but it's also a pro because when there's no inventory, that means that people love that area, right? So, I mean, if people are snapping them up at 98% of lists on average, and that's on average, obviously, everything, not everything, but there's quite a few going 20, 30 grand over lists nowadays. That's a common occurrence. So, obviously, it's a hot market. That's awesome.
Yes.
I loved all that you have shared with me about Wicker Park here. Do you think there's anything else you would like to add before?
I think Wicker Park is very unique also. Something that I'm learning just living here is that the average person in Wicker Park has lived here for over 5 years when they buy, which if we look at national statistics, the average American moves every 3 years, right? In larger metropolitan areas, 3 to 6 years. So everyone that I've met up and down my block has lived here forever. And it's also really interesting to me because people talk about how Wicker Park is kind of overpriced. But again, because I'm a numbers girl, we had the addition of the 606, right? You have 2.7 miles of green walkway. There's yoga there. There'll be like pop-up art galleries. So before an area that really didn't have access for everyone to greenery now does. So we had such a interesting shift in buyers over the past, I'm going to say 5-6 years and in the area. So we had long hold owners that only started selling maybe 7 years ago when the popularity started to increase. They cashed out, right? And then you saw, when we see developers and we see flippers go into an area, what typically happens is they see value in areas that they can increase property values, and that's shifting. They go in before it shifts. So we had a lot of flippers in this area that would come in about 6-7 years ago and started buying generational properties, right? Like this, adding value, modernizing it, And that's when we saw the increase in value. And that initial wave of people are just now selling. So I love like seeing the numbers and the dynamics of area and what the shift is. So I think it's super cool how people just think, oh, it's so hot, it's overpriced. I'm like, no, it was underpriced before. It was undervalued before because you just had long-term holders. Now we're seeing the shift, and I think it's going to kind of like speed up. And that's why I think don't tell anyone else. Don't tell any of the other agents representing Chicago, but Wicker Park's kind of the place to be.
Love that answer. That is perfect. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I wanted to thank you so much for joining me, Ree. Obviously, you know a ton about Wicker Park. Anybody listening today looking to move to Wicker Park, how is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Actually, you can go directly to my website, reprasad.com, or re@reprasad.com, or my cell phone or social media. If there's a way for you to go on any platform, I am there.
Go ahead and drop your cell phone number if you don't mind.
Done. You can reach me at 773-724-9130.
Perfect. So we will have your website and your cell phone number and contact information in the show notes. Anybody listening, obviously, Ree Prasad is a rock star. She's working the Wicker Park market very fervently, and she's obviously doing a great job. She's living there and loving it. So anybody looking to move there, I encourage you to reach out to Ree. She's doing a fantastic job, and we'll see you guys next week when we're talking about a different neighborhood or suburb of Chicago. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with you next week.